YouTube as well, just so you know.
Right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
All right. And as soon as I get the go ahead. All right, here we go. This week on The Woman Behind the Business, Act 2, Where Dreams Come True. You know me, I'm your host, Angel Livas, and today you'll hear the story of how one woman held on to her dream until the right time came along. Many people would love to say that they're retiring from the federal government after nearly 4 decades and be totally content with their lives. Well, our guest, Lisa Chase, isn't one of them. As she nears her 40th work anniversary and retirement, she has decided that it is in this decade that she's betting on herself. She is the CEO of Faith Forward Mentoring, and we're very excited to have her as an example of that it's never too late to pursue your purpose full throttle. Welcome to the show, Lisa.
Thank you, Angel. It's my pleasure to be here today.
Awesome. All right. Now, let's start at the very, very top because everybody can see you and they can tell that you don't look that old. I mean, to be working in the federal government for about 40 years now. Mm-hmm. So were you a teenager when you started working in the government? Like, what happened? Talk to us about like how you got that first opportunity.
Well, I started working in the government when I turned 16, and I was in the 11th grade in high school, and it was like a work-study program. Mm-hmm. And I got into the government. Oh, it's kind of exciting because I've never been in the government. I'm young, and I'm saying, wow, this is nice. And the money was good, right? So I said, I get to work and I get to go to school at the same time. So it was a great opportunity back then. And so I went on to work for all the way till I graduated high school. Mm-hmm. And when I graduated high school, they brought me back. And I have been in the government ever since. I did take 1 year off to go to school. I had went to the, I had at the time thought I was going to be a pharmacist. So I applied to the University of Pittsburgh. And I went to the University of Pittsburgh for 1 year, and it wasn't it.
Well, so then you're also proving that college isn't necessarily for everybody.
It is not. I went, it was, I thought I wanted to be a pharmacist. Don't know how I got to that idea, but I did it for a year and realized that this is not what I want to do. So I went on and stayed the year, and then I came back home. And I was really going to go back and just really do it. And then I finally just told my parents, this is not what I want to be. And they understood, and I went back home, and I went back to the government because I just called my employer at the time. And I just said, I just want to come back. I just want you to know I'm not going back to school. And I just want to come back to work. So she was all for that. And here I am.
40 years what were you doing when you first started?
I was a secretary. Well, actually, it was called back then a clerical aide. If I'm not mistaken, it's been 40 years. And I had to take the typing test to get back in because I was going to be a full-time employee. Passed the typing test. And when they told me I passed and then I was a full-time employee, but I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I thought.
And so 40 years later, is that what you're retiring as? Like, did you change ranks? Like, what did that look like?
I stayed in administration, and I just did various jobs along through administration. Just, when administration, you can do secretarial, you can be a technical assistant, you can do conference work. I did everything, trying to find that niche, trying to find that thing that I wanted to do, and never found it, but it was a good job. Mm-hmm. I was a single parent, and it provided me the what I needed to raise my girls. So I said, well, it's a good job. But guess what? The vision that I had for my business, it never left me. Mm-hmm. Never left me. So I would say it kind of, you could say I went to sleep one. It was dormant.
A little dormant for a little bit.
Yeah, okay. Just dormant. And, life happens. Mm-hmm. It does. And life is a journey anyway. So I just went on and just kept working and kept. I enjoyed my supervisor. I had the best group of people to work for.
Mhm.
I mean, they knew I was a single parent. If I ever needed to be off for anything for my girls, no problem. So it was like, this is great. Why do anything else? So,
Right.
but guess what? And this is what I want to tell people. You can be comfortable in a position, but guess what? People will leave you.
Mhm.
The ones that I enjoyed working for retired, went on to do other jobs, and here I am by myself,
Mhm.
still sitting here.
Mhm.
So that's the point I'm trying to make is always want to better yourself.
And do it
Even
right.
though you're in a job where everybody loves you and the environment is great, don't settle.
Mhm.
Keep wanting to do more. That's what I
What
want to get off.
what would you say is the greatest lesson that you've learned from working in the government sector?
The greatest lesson I learned, the government when I started was just a great place to work. It gave you stability. It gave you, how the government really works, which is what I wanted to learn at the time. I even went and got my paralegal degree.
Mm.
I was trying to do everything to try to find that thing I wanted to do. And when I did all of that, guess what? The paralegal division was taken away.
Mm.
So I was like, I did all this. I went back to school and got my paralegal degree. And when I finished, I got the degree, I was ready to apply for the paralegal position, and this whole section went away. So I was like, okay, God, what do I do now? I'm trying.
Mhm.
So I just kept going. And I think in the government, it's not a bad place to be if you want to be a public servant.
Mhm.
It's a great place to be if you want to be a public servant. And like I said, it was a great job, but it wasn't my passion. And
So
I
what
knew
was your
it.
passion? You stayed in it for 40 years. Let's
Yeah.
get to your passion. You said that there was something, a burning desire inside of you that had been laying dormant for over 40 years, because
Yeah.
I'm going to even say that you had this desire before you even went into the government space.
Right.
What was that desire?
My desire is to encourage children and adults, do not settle. I just want to encourage them to never ever give up on your vision. Never do something that you think is what you should be doing, but don't get comfortable. I got too comfortable, you know, and by being too comfortable, I just didn't pursue what I really wanted to do. And then here we go, years and years and years and years. Time just went because I was comfortable.
Mhm.
So the one thing I want to tell people is don't get comfortable. Never give up on what you really want to do. Search your heart, follow your heart, and pursue that dream, no matter what it takes. You're going to have a journey. You're going to have to do different things to get there, but keep going, keep pushing. And I didn't. I got comfortable. So,
Now, why would you say that now is the time? That now you can make this transition into pursuing your purpose?
mm,
What makes today different than yesterday?
honestly, I can't believe that I'm at a place and age where I can retire. And when you really sit down and say, my God, I can retire now, what will I do? I'm not going to sit at home and do nothing. Now is the time to pursue that dream. And I prayed and I said, God, and then you know what that big word is, fear. That fear. God, I'm 40 years here in the government. I'm now 50, getting ready to turn 57. It's too late. And he's like, it's never too late. It's never too late. And it's still here. And it's still here, but I feel so good right now taking this step. Because when you take the step, everything else falls into place. The people will come, the resources will come. It's just amazing how if you just in your space and where you're supposed to be, it's not work. It's not work. So I'm just ready to tell my story. You know, I have a story, and I just want everybody that comes to me to just know that never
Mommy, we're done.
get discouraged
No.
during the tough times. It's those tough times is how you grow. You know, it's how you grow, and just to make sure that they know, no matter what, you are enough. You are enough. Don't, you know, fear is it's healthy. It's healthy, and don't be afraid of it. Um, uh, and there are a lot of people that I have come across already that just don't have people to encourage them, to listen to them. They want people to be who they want them to be. Mistake. We are here to encourage everyone to live how they want to live, because everybody's born with a purpose. Everybody's born with a purpose, whatever that purpose is. And we're not supposed to discourage anybody with what they want to be. And that's what I want to be there for them. That's their cheerleader. Their cheerleader. Everybody doesn't have a cheerleader.
Right. So in being that cheerleader, talk to us a little bit about faith forward mentoring.
Faith forward mentoring came about, faith forward mentoring honestly came about just recently because I've always wanted to tutor. I have a tutoring business. And then as I went along, I thought about it. What do I really like to do best? I really like to listen. We have to listen first to everyone as they talk. And I really like to talk to people. I really like to encourage people. I really like to talk to people when they're down, to let them know it's going to be okay. And I honed in on those skills, and I thought about it, and I kept thinking about it, but you really enjoy mentoring. So why not create a mentoring business? And as soon as that idea came to me, oh my gosh, I just felt amazing. It just seemed like, that's it. After all these years, that's what you want to do? Because I talk to people all the time. I talk to people all the time. And I love it. So why not make a business of encouraging people, equipping people with everything they need to do their business? And it's just something that...
Well, everything that they need to do their business, or I thought it was more like, who is your target audience with faith forward mentoring?
My target audience will be children and adults. Children mostly right now, because if you see it all the time. How children are out here, young kids are out here, they don't have a vision. They don't have, at least the ones that I've come in contact with, the families are not as supportive. And they tend to do things and say things that they're just searching. The kids that I've come in contact with, they're searching. They're searching for somebody to just believe in them. So, and as an adult, look at me. I mean, I want to encourage adults that it's never too late. It's never too late to do what you want to do.
Now, we are speaking with Lisa Chase, the woman behind Faith Forward Mentoring. Now, Lisa, what has been your greatest fear when it came to launching your business?
I'm too old. I'm too old, and it's too late. I'm too old. I don't have the skills. It's the mind. Your mind is your worst enemy, because it's just all kinds of negative things. Do you really can you really do this? are you going to be successful? You have to, first of all, control your mind, control it, and take it, take over your mind and say, I can do this. Not I can't do this, but I can. So it was the fear of starting at this stage in my life. And it's amazing how this pandemic came along. So we're sitting in a pandemic where things have become to a complete standstill, and we had to be quarantined. Who would ever saw that? And so in this moment of being quarantined, I call it as a time of resetting. Really sitting down. I don't have to rush out to work. I don't have to do all of the other things that I'm responsible for. I get to sit down and I get to say, I get to rest. I get to think more. I get to say, what are you going to do in this quarantine period? Right? And then I call this pandemic, this quarantine, even though it's a terrible time in our country, I call it a blessing. People may say, you do? Yeah, it's a blessing because you get to sit down. You get to stop. You get to reset everything you were doing and really focus on what's important. So this pandemic has been a blessing to me. Things have occurred to me that I would never have thought would happen. Never even would have thought of rebranding my business, thanks to you. Just your connection was a tremendous blessing. I can't thank you enough. I can't stop thanking God enough to have you sit down and just take a moment and breathe. That's what I did.
Sorry, I muted y'all. I rarely talk about the ways in which I help businesses. So would you mind, because you brought it up, would you mind talking and sharing what that experience was like for you, or how I was able to help you?
You helped me think beyond what I could ever think of doing for myself. You gave me new things to think about, new avenues. You brought out things that I would never have thought about doing ever. You gave me courage. Even at my age, you gave me courage. And you just showed me things that I never would have seen on my own. Because I'm gonna be honest, I'm a real, I have my circle, and I'm comfortable in that circle, but you showed me it's time to broaden that circle, to go further, to see what's really out there, what's really needed, and how I can contribute to that. And you just opened up a myriad of things for me to look at that I had no idea was out there. And now that I do, I know that I can help somebody. So you really helped me see that. You really just gave me courage to do this. Courage, and then, it's really started a couple of years ago when I was really working on my business. And can I tell this story?
Yeah.
I was going to the grocery store, normal run, and I was in my car. And a woman came on the radio, and her name was Cynthia Harrison. And I said, And so I just decided I would just sit there and listen. It was only a 15-minute interview. And she worked for Operation Hope. Operation Hope is a wonderful, wonderful organization because they help people live their dreams. They help people financially. And just to know that this organization was there, which I had no idea they even existed, and it was open to me at no cost, was something like I just said, you know what? It was an ordained moment to go to the store at that time and hear her at that moment. And so when I did that, I said, well, let's just start taking her classes. I didn't know what to expect. And so I signed up for her classes. It was, if I remember, 8 weeks. And just sitting in that classroom, I believe I wasn't the oldest, but a lot of young people. And just sitting there, I was like, wow, I can really do this. It just sparked me to awaken my dream. And I did it, and I even graduated. I didn't even know that I was going to have to present my business in front of attorneys. And I looked at her like, what? I just came here to get information. So she said, no, you're going to present your business. I did that. And there was a panel of 3 or 4, if I can remember. And one of the panelists did something to me that just blessed my soul. He said, you're going to be so successful. I said, me? You're going to be so successful. And it's because I have a passion to see people live their best lives. I have so many stories to tell of my own life, of how, even though you go through sometimes the hardest things, that's how you grow. I have grown so much from everything that I have been through. And, I can honestly say right now, I'm living my best life, and it's not even over. It's not even over. I can only imagine where I'm going from here.
And that's a beautiful thing. And
Yeah.
I'm very familiar with Cynthia here, and I'm very familiar with Operation Hope.
Yeah.
I volunteer with Operation Hope and teach their marketing and branding section of their entrepreneurship program.
Yeah.
And so I think that is a great segue to really dive into what Faith Forward Mentoring is.
Yeah.
What are your service offerings? Why do you feel that mentoring is important? And I'll actually start with, I know I just kind of asked like 3 questions in one, but I want to start with, why is mentoring so important to you? Have you had successful mentoring over the years, and even like going into your corporate career? Like, how has mentoring impacted and changed your life?
I have had great mentors in my 40-year career in the government. Mentors are important because as you find yourself working in a group of people, you tend to think you can't do it, or you tend to think that people think of you a certain way when it's really not true. You really think that you could be in a room full of people and you think that just because they're a certain position, or they have a certain position, or they have certain experience, that you can't do the same thing. Having a mentor helped me to, there are times when you can't really talk the way you want to talk to people. And having a mentor allowed me to open up my heart to tell my mentor how I really felt about certain things that were going on in the workforce. And she just allowed me to talk about it, and then she would mentor me on how to deal with it. Because in any job, in any career, you have to know who you are. You have to know who you are. It's important so that you can survive all the other people that are around you that may not think you're good, or they may not think you know how to do something, but you got to know who you are, and this, I've had several mentors, and each one had a very special place in my heart, and they still do, because they showed me that I can do anything. You don't have to have a degree. You don't have to hold a certain position. You don't have to, pretend, keyword pretend, to do anything or be anything you're not. And my main goal is to make sure that I live with integrity. So I'm not going to do anything that I feel is not right. I'm not going to do anything to please you. And I just need you to know that it was okay, that I can be me in this environment and still survive. They were the best mentors ever. And that's what I want to be to somebody.
That's awesome. And so, Lisa, it's time for us to take a quick commercial break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we're going to continue this conversation with Lisa Chase, who is the CEO of Faith Forward Mentoring. I want you guys at home to stay with us, and we'll be right back after this quick break. There we go.
I've never seen America so divided in my entire life.
I remember as a kid, like parents turned down the music, everybody be quiet. And it's like, when I think, it's like literally, it's a process.
The vast majority of the general public, no matter your race, we're not criminals.
I believe it is critical for everyone to take a moment to really look outside of themselves and their comfort zone in order to connect with the human experience.
I am Justin Woods.
I am Crystal Berger, and I am Black.
I am Ryan, and in case you didn't notice, I'm Black.
That is the I Am Black special that originally aired on June 19th. And we just made an announcement, kind of, sort of, it's a little bit public, that we are having part 2 of the I Am Black experience on September 15th.
Great.
It is the anniversary of the 16th Street Baptist Church bombings in Alabama, in Birmingham, Alabama. And this conversation is going to be all about how Black women are impacted by racism and police brutality. So very exciting conversation ahead of us. I definitely encourage everybody to set your calendars. Again, that is going to be on Tuesday, September 15th at 8 p.m. You'll be able to access the upcoming program on iamblack.org. And I will give you one little hint. One of our participants is actually Mrs. Sarah Collins Rudolph. And she was one of the only surviving little girl that was in the bathroom the day that the other 4 died, and her sister died in the bombing as well. So it's going to be a very powerful conversation. So again, I do encourage you to save the date, mark your calendars, and join us for part 2 of I Am Black. All right, now we are coming back into our conversation with the CEO of Faith Forward Mentoring. She goes by the name of Lisa Chase. She is going into her 4th decade in the government sector. And we're very excited to have her here where she can talk to us about her transition and now a real conversation around the business side of Faith Forward Mentoring. So Lisa, welcome back.
Thank you.
All right, so talk to us a little bit more about what Faith Forward Mentoring is. And we understand why it was important for you to get it started, but now that it's up and running, what can people expect? Why should they, send their children to work with you? Or why should a woman decide or a man decide that you're the right person for them to be counseled or mentored by?
I think that because of this recent racial pandemic that we're going to now, it's even more important that we know who we are. This is a time where we can, if we're not careful, we can become very afraid. And not to say that fear won't be present. But this is the time where now we have to do more to encourage our young people as well as adults to stand up for who they are, to strengthen them from the inside out. And once they know who they are on the inside, they can be successful on the outside. So this now is the perfect time for me to really mentor as much as I can so that people won't fall into a depression. They won't fall into being scared. They won't fall into thinking they're less than who they are. So this is the time to launch this business. This is the time to encourage everyone that, yes, this is happening in this country, but there's still a God that rules and reigns.
Mm-hmm.
He rules and he reigns, and the oppressor's time is coming to an end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And until that happens, we're going to stand strong. We're going to be resilient people. We're going to be stronger in who we are. And don't be afraid. You know, I can't express it more than enough that now is definitely the time for us to rise up to be who we are. And don't be afraid to be who we are. So if you come to me, you're going to get that encouragement. You're going to get to that place where you're going to move forward no matter what is happening on the outside, and you're going to know for sure you are enough.
Now, how does your faith play into Faith Forward Mentoring?
Oh, I wouldn't be where I am now without my faith in God. I don't want to get too emotional, but it means everything to me. No matter how or who you believe in or how you worship God, it gives you that peace that surpasses all understanding. It gives you a rest. Like right now, I know that it's a terrible time in this country. We're in two pandemics. The coronavirus pandemic, now we're in a racial pandemic. And having faith in God, for me, even in the midst of all of this, I can rest because I know for sure who rules, who reigns, who's in charge. And I know that as I go out, I am protected. It's something that you have to just show people. Not everybody believes, and it's true, but if they can see God in you, they're going to know something's there. They're going to know that, okay, how are you not afraid? How can you still smile? How can you still have joy? It's easy. Mm-hmm. Because I know who keeps me, you know. And the one thing I just want people to know, we can't be in this world by ourselves. First of all, we're not of this world. We're in this world for a short period of time. And if you know who carries you, if you know who keeps you, you can still survive in the midst of terrible times. So my faith took me places. It kept me in dark places. It kept me just through everything I've been through in my entire life here. I wouldn't be where I am right now if it wasn't for my faith, because I wouldn't have had the courage to do what I'm doing now. But God said, you can do it. You can do it, because this is what I birthed you to do. So it plays a major part in my life right now.
Now, earlier during the first segment, you talked about how you are a single parent. Mm-hmm. And you raised your children on your own and mm-hmm. all of that and all of the responsibilities of that. Were you previously married?
No, never.
Okay. And so that leads us into my next question. You are currently engaged, correct?
Not formally, but yes, this is leading to that.
Okay. So with that, was it more of you couldn't find anyone before, or did you have a preference to settle down later in life?
That's a real good question. I've always wanted to partner with someone that not, you know how you always hear those things where, and it's not even, every time I hear somebody say it, it's like, that's certainly not true. He, what's the word? He completes me.
Mhm.
When I hear people saying he completes me, what? No, you're complete by yourself. When you meet someone, you want to meet someone that complements who you already are.
Mhm.
You want somebody to like just to make you do things that you normally wouldn't do. You want somebody to help you grow. You want somebody to just be your cheerleader. You know, when I'm down and I can't open my mouth to pray, you want somebody that's going to pray for you.
Mhm.
You want somebody that's going to be your cheerleader when you can't be your own cheerleader. So I have always wanted to join my life with somebody, but it just never felt right. So if it doesn't feel right, keep moving. And then just settled. What I did was I just, for a while, for 10 years, I just decided to just raise my girls. And in the midst of that, you date here and there, but just one to one.
So what about this relationship made it feel right?
Oh, I just feel that this relationship is sent from God. He really was. A short story on that. We met 30 years ago. We dated 30 years ago for a short time. And of course, back then, it just wasn't our time. So we separated, and lo and behold, I get a message, from someone that I didn't even recognize. I'm like, who is this person? And he kept trying to, say hello. And then finally I just said, you know what, who are you? Because I don't remember. And when he told me, I could not believe it. It was like, what? That was 30 years ago. We both led two very different, separate lives. But the moment that he came back into my life, I have been the happiest I've ever been, because I know he just has, first of all, he's a man of God. He has a heart for God. Mm-hmm. And no matter what I say or do or think about myself, I can be who I am, and I don't have to change a thing. I can just be Lisa. And he's just he's my cheerleader, and I also wanted to attach myself to somebody that we together can make this world better. Mm-hmm. He is a great, he cares about people tremendously. He's a big encourager. And he doesn't even have to do a whole lot. He's just who he is. And I must say that the wait was worth it, to just not settle. Single ladies, don't settle. Just wait. When you wait, so many things can, you just, I can talk forever about him, but just don't
settle.
Don't settle. Don't be with somebody just to have somebody.
Right.
And you're fine by yourself. You're good by yourself. And honestly, being a single parent or being a single woman, do you know how much you can do to just develop your own self by yourself?
Right.
you know, and then you make yourself the best person that you can be, because that person can't make you better.
Mhm.
They can only add to you.
Yep.
So don't just basically just don't settle. If you wait, you'd be surprised if it will come into your life. And I never saw it coming. Never saw it coming.
That is a beautiful thing. Well, this has been phenomenal. And we have come to the point in the show where it is time for our moment from the valley. For our viewers and for you as well, Lisa, moment from the valley is where you will share a time and place that you did not know how you were going to make it out of a particular situation.
Mhm.
So we'd like to know what that situation was, how you got out of the situation, and what was waiting for you on the other side.
Mm.
So while you think, I'm gonna give you a second to think.
Because I've
I'm
had
going to talk to our audience about the new book that literally just came in last night. Side Hustle to Main Hustle is officially in print. So I'm super excited to be able to share this book with you all. It is only available right now on my website, where you can get a signed copy of it. You can go to angelinlivas.com/bookstore. There you will find Side Hustle to Main Hustle, as well as Her Therapy, which came out in May, I believe, May or June. So this is Her Therapy. Her Therapy is all about balancing life as mom and boss, as well as a few other little nuggets. There's a whole chapter on relationships. And if you're a spiritual person, Proverbs 31 is stitched all throughout the book. And Side Hustle to Main Hustle is all about how are you going to transition into full-time entrepreneurship. The subtitle is The Owner's Manual to Full-Time Entrepreneurship. So definitely grab your copy of these books. They are available at angelinlivas.com/bookstore. All right, Lisa, are you ready?
Oh, your books are very good. I have to say that.
Oh. Did you read them both or just Side Hustle?
I'm reading that one now, and it's very good. I haven't read Her Therapy yet, and that's on my to-do list to read.
Yay, awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
No, you read it all. All right. So are you ready to share your moment from the valley?
Yeah, I've had many valley moments, but the one valley moment that I will share, I don't even think my family knows this one, and it's okay, because you have to tell your story, because you never know who you'll encourage.
Yep.
So as a single parent, of course, I was raising my two girls by myself, and I had them in private schools, both of them. So I was paying to private school tuition and trying to keep everything together. During that time, I bought a home and trying to make things better for them, and thinking that I could handle everything, and it became tough. So I ended up facing foreclosure. And that time period was a very scary time for me. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to move forward. I didn't know how I was going to keep a roof over my children's head. So, of course, through the whole process, and it's a very long process, I just believed God that He would help me, that He would get me through this, that I'm not going to lose anything. And amazing, this is amazing. The house was actually that week going to auction, and it gotten to that level. And my house sold, because I was trying to find a buyer to help me not go to foreclosure, and it sold. The very day it sold, a very, very bad storm happened. It was the worst storm ever that we experienced. And that day I was supposed to close. So I'm scared that I'm going to go out in this bad weather to close. And I was fearful, oh, I can't do it today. The weather's bad. But if you don't, and then I was, my realtor, you have to do it today or your house will be foreclosed on. So I took my 2 girls with me because we weren't going to be together in this storm. And I proceeded to go and close on this house. And I kid you not, driving through all of that, it was very, very rough driving. And I kid you not, because I pressed forward, because I believe God this is the day that he gave me to close on my home and everything would be well. When I got to the realtor's office, the sun came out. I kid you not. And I said, and I just thank God, because that was a sure sign to me that he had me, because I pressed forward, even in the midst of a bad storm, that I should not have been out there. I should have been hunkered down in my house. And when I got to there, the sun came out. And I just tell that story to let people know, no matter how hard it is, no matter how hard it looks, he has you. He has you. It's going to be okay. And nobody knew that story. I just felt the need to tell my story. So no matter what you're facing, no matter how bad it looks, just keep going forward, because it will be okay. And that valley right there, that valley moment, I grew from that so much, because I knew that no matter what I would face going forward, I would get through it, without a doubt. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Lisa. That is definitely why we have the Moment from the Valley. And I can say for the last 3 years, there have been many of women who have said, I don't know if my kids know this. I don't know if my family knows this. But I believe that Moments from the Valley was placed on my heart 4 years ago, as a space for us to recognize how God moves in our lives, and to be able to show and share that with others, because so often people just see the glitz, the glam, they see how you're living now, they hear about the business, but they don't understand what you've been through. And so, one, I want to thank you for having the courage to share it, because sometimes we have had some people who go deep and like, yo, this was a valley, but then we have some people who are very surface. And I believe it is in those deep, real valley moments that you are able to bless and give light to someone else who may be in that situation right now, especially in what we're experiencing right now today.
Absolutely.
Right. And so I encourage anyone who is listening right now to just understand and believe that what you are going through, you are not the first person that has gone and been in this situation, and your storm can soon be your story, the same way that was your case. And so I thank you for sharing your storm and your story with us, and helping us to better see how you overcame it all.
Absolutely. My pleasure. We don't live, when we go through, we don't live for ourselves, we live for other people. We have to encourage it, because somebody else is going to go through that, and they need to hear that somebody survived.
Exactly. That is the beauty of it. All right. Well, thank you so much for being our guest today, Lisa. Would you like to share some social media information or ways in which people can learn more about Faith Forward Mentoring?
Yes, Faith Forward Mentoring. You can reach me by email on faithforwardmentoring@gmail.com. I am also on LinkedIn, and I'm also on Facebook, and other social media platforms are coming. It's being built, and it's more to come.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Lisa, for being our guest. It has truly, truly, truly been a pleasure. Let me see real quick.
Thank you, Angel, so much for this opportunity. I really am thankful for just being able to tell my story. I never told that story, and you gave me the platform to do it. And just to know that I'm a mentor that can encourage you to be your best self because you are enough.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
For you at home, please be sure to check out past broadcasts on our website, wbbtalk.com. And if you're looking for a little more motivation on Saturday mornings, you can join me for my weekly prayer breakfast. It's an hour of goodness from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. to get you filled, motivated, and prepared for the week ahead. You can also be sure to follow me on Instagram at Angel and Livas to learn how to access all of my upcoming special events. During our break earlier, you heard about our I Am Black special that will be released on September 15th. If you want to check out the original that came out on Juneteenth, go to iamblack.org and click. You can either watch the full experience or you can watch a panel conversation, which featured such prominent Black men as Michael Eric Dyson, Reverend Dr. Howard John Wesley Jr., as well as Mr. Tommy Dortch, the chairman of 100 Black Men, and others. So be sure, check that out. A great opportunity for you to really understand ways in which we can move our country forward and kill off this racism and police brutality. Of course, you want to follow the woman behind the business on social media at WBB Talk. And I want to say a special thank you to my friends at DC Radio. It's been a long time since we've been in studio, but we're still cranking out these shows. So special thank you to our show producer, Cal Murdoch, and our program director, Max Myrick. Until next time, be blessed. All right, awesome. Thank you so much.